Hello, Commanders fans. Today we have some hot news that you can't miss. So get ready because there's a lot of important information coming. Before we start, we'd like to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay up to date with all the news about our Washington Commanders. Don't forget to leave a like, which really strengthens our community and helps bring this content to the most passionate fans of the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news. Giving a quarterback as special as Jayden Daniels better wide receivers is something the Washington Commanders should take seriously this offseason, even if it means making T Higgins the highest-paid wideout in the NFL. The Commanders are being urged to give the Cincinnati Bengals wideout a lot of money by Marcus Mosher of the 33rd team. Mosher believes now is the time to be aggressive in 2025 free agency, thanks to Daniels' obvious talent and an enviable amount of cap space. That space should be dedicated to Higgins, who is the best player on the market, and the Commanders could easily make him the highest-paid receiver in the league, according to Mosher. While Mosher believes adding Higgins to Terry McLaurin would ensure Washington has enough players to win the NFC next season, there are good reasons the Commanders would avoid such a deal. Commanders don't need to overpay for T Higgins. Higgins is a talented vertical threat whose knack for taking defenses off the top would be welcome in any offense. The problem is, the Commanders already have McLaurin in that role. He's a dynamic, big-play threat on the perimeter who has caught 12 passes for 20-plus yards this season, including 5 catches of 40 or more. McLaurin has thrived as the outside receiver in offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury's schemes, and it's debatable whether Higgins would be an upgrade. The 6'4", 215-pounder is a size and speed mismatch against most coverages. He has the straight-line speed to make plays like this touchdown catch against the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 11, highlighted by Ian Hartitz of Fantasy Life. Plays like these are impressive, but they don't hide the fact that Higgins has never been a number 1 receiver. That role has been filled by Bengals All-Pro Ja'Marr Chase. If Higgins hasn't been a go-to receiver, why should the Commanders pay him like one? Especially when Kingsbury's offense needs a different kind of target. The Commanders need a different receiver. What the Commanders need more than Higgins is a true playmaker between the numbers. Something a trade for a former Super Bowl MVP would yield. Higgins has been a popular pick for the Commanders, but he's not a slot specialist. Neither are starters like veterans Olamide Zaccoz and Jamison Crowder, both also free agents. Perhaps Luke McCaffrey, the 3rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, can flourish in that niche role. It's possible, but the converted quarterback has a long way to go after only getting 24 targets as a rookie. There are receivers elsewhere in this year's free agency market who are comfortable making catches between the numbers. Wideouts like a $60 million standout for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. More specifically, Commanders general manager Adam Peters has cost-effective alternatives for Higgins. Alternatives like a true burner who plays for the NFC East rival New York Giants. Peters could even settle for re-signing Dyami Brown, who has proven to be a hero this postseason. Brown represents a bargain with a market value projected by Spotrac.com at a modest $1.9 million. That's a cut for a 25-year-old who possesses similar deep speed to Higgins, as well as an existing rapport with Daniels, all for a fraction of the cost. Keeping Brown and acquiring a natural slot receiver makes more sense than paying more for Higgins. Commanders veteran listed as key trade candidate. The Washington Commanders have found themselves in an enviable position. They have a franchise quarterback in Jayden Daniels, a solid supporting cast and money to spend in free agency. However, optimizing that salary cap space, the 3rd largest in the sport, means some tough decisions await them heading into the new league year. Washington could be aggressive, acquiring high-profile stars at market prices and putting a dent in its flexibility. Finding additional salary cap space may be necessary to do so. Subsequently, Commanders defensive tackle Daron Payne was listed among the bold candidates for trade predictions by Bleacher Report, which explored several possibilities for each team's trade interests. The Commanders could opt to trade Daron Payne, Alex Ballantyne wrote. Payne and Jonathan Allen are 2 of the 3 most expensive players on the roster, and they also drafted Jajon Newton in this past draft. Payne's 4-year, $90 million contract hasn't started as well as Washington had hoped, nor is it easy to unload. According to Over the Cap, cutting Payne would cost Washington $25.8 million in dead money. Even doing so with a post-June 1 designation would add up to nearly $15 million in dead money. Waiting until June to trade him, however, would reduce that number to just under $6 million, saving more than $20 against the draft. After a season with the fewest sacks, tackles for loss, and quarterback hits since 2021, Payne may not be worth much on the trade block. But getting back a mid to late-round pick in 2026 could be beneficial if it opens the books for a late summer blockbuster. As Ballantyne noted, Newton is also waiting in the wings. The rookie didn't have the most promising rookie season per se, recording 2 sacks in 16 games. But having faith in the front office, which they deserve, lends itself to giving him more opportunities in year 2. The Commanders exceeded all expectations in 2024, but getting over the hump could require large-scale changes to a defense that was subpar in the regular season and abysmal in the NFC Championship game. Payne, after 7 seasons in Landover, could be one of them. One of the NFL's top free agents has recently become a top target for the Commanders, and it makes a lot of sense. The 2025 offseason will look very different than last year for the Washington Commanders, but one thing that remains the same is the fact that the defense still needs help at the cornerback position. Yes, even with the acquisition of Marshawn Lattimore and the development of Mike Sainristil, Lattimore's health will be a big storyline to monitor, even after a full offseason of recovery, and his play on the field is another topic to watch. Lattimore underperformed in 2024, making 2025 a very important year. Is Sainristil's development also twofold in the sense that he will take a step forward in 2025? The signs point to yes, but we've seen plenty of players regress after successful seasons, especially in year 2. And as of now, those 2 guys are the only cornerbacks slated to be on the roster when the new league year begins on March 12th. So the Commanders will obviously have to fill those spots with someone. Luckily for them, one of the NFL's top upcoming free agents has made it pretty clear that he's going to hit the market, Charvarius Ward. Ward is a perfect fit for the Commanders' defense. At 6 foot, 1 and 185 pounds, Ward is a great pressure cornerback and is also very adept in zone coverage. He's played the shadow role a lot in his career, but he can play effectively on the perimeter or the edge, which means the Commanders can move him around if they want, or they can let him shadow the opposing offense's number 1 guy all day long. Entering his age 29 season, Ward is still in his prime and comes in at number 13 on Pro Football Focus Top 100 free agents list. He's coming off a down year, but he also tragically lost his daughter during the regular season. That's going to affect anyone, no matter who they are. In fact, it's playing a role in his desire to leave San Francisco, as he's been battling PTSD ever since. It's also negatively impacting his girlfriend, simply making for a bad situation all around. It's impossible not to empathize with Ward. It's been a little over 4 months since he lost his 1-year-old daughter. That tragedy caused Mooney to be away from the 49ers for a few weeks. So when Ward said the state of California reminds him of the worst year of his life, John Lynch and the front office knew they would need a new starting cornerback in 2025. Kyle Posey, Niners Nation. Ward would immediately give the Commanders the best cornerback trio in the NFL, and he wouldn't even have to push Lattimore into the number 2 role, so to speak. Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. could create weekly game plans that allow both guys to play the best positions possible for them. Sainristil would slide back inside, making up for the potential loss of Noah Igbinoghene. Even if Igbinoghene returns, the Commanders now have solid depth at nickel, and 2 guys on the perimeter who can match up with just about anyone. There's also the fact that Sainristil could pop up on the outside whenever needed, adding more depth and flexibility to the secondary. Ward also won't break the bank, which is another reason to go after him. Spotrac currently estimates Ward's market value at $15.3 million per year, and NFL contract analysts Josh Quaipo and Kyle DiDomenicantaneo project him to be $14.5 million per year. Both numbers are affordable, not only because the Commanders are currently projected to have more than $68 million in effective salary cap space heading into the offseason, but also due to the fact that it's only about $2 to $3 million more than the average salary for the cornerback position in 2024, non-rookies only. Paying so much more than average